The following program, The Lightning Strike, is sponsored by Mohammed Fahim, and to the extent applicable, their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of NewsWeb Radio Company or its management.
Get ready to be jolted out of the ordinary and into a world where conversations are charged with intensity and facts. The Lightning Strike Talk Radio with your host, Mohammed Fahim, broadcasting live from the heart of the city on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, WCPT 820 AM. Welcome to a radio show that charges through the airwaves with an electricity like no other. Here's your host, Mohammed Fahim.
Good morning, Chicago. This is your host, Mohammed Fahim. Welcome to Lightning Strike. Joining me today are going to be Ken DeLuke and Read Bible, Maria Muzaffar, Sheila White with her Person of the Week, and Carl Moose would be joining us also today. So much to discuss, folks, with all this big bull that,
Good morning.
that just passed. Yes, Ken.
Good morning.
Good morning, Reed. Good morning, Ken.
Who's this?
We can hear all of you.
Reed.
So,
In Las Vegas.
Okay.
Oh, Reed. Okay, Reed. Okay, I'm Ken. I don't know what happened with Muhammad, but we'll start this juggernaut off today. What an amazing week this has been. I mean, I just can't wait to get into the weeds on all the things that has just happened, and speculate on where we're going to be in the next couple of days. We have with us. Carl Moose, he's one of our segment producers in charge of science and technology and environment, and very involved in the solar aspect of what goes on and how that's been affected. And now I'm getting feedback. Hold on.
Okay, Ken, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Now we can.
Okay, so I don't know what happened in the beginning, but I guess what's his name? What's his name again? Who's the president of the United States?
Some guy, Trump.
Okay, so Trump must be monitoring what we are saying about him. But again, folks, welcome to the Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Mohammed Fahim. With me, Ken DeLuke, Read Bible, Carl Moose will be joining us. Dr. Sheila White has got a Person of the Week joining us also shortly. Good morning, Sheila.
Good morning. Good morning. We're still waiting on our Person of the Week to call in.
Okay. As soon as she calls in, we will bring her on the air. The number to call in, folks, if you want to join the conversation is 773-763-9278. Okay, and God, we got a full plate today. So we got Congresswoman Marie Newman also joining us. So much to discuss with this travesty of a bill that just passed, folks. And I got some real experts. Maria Muzaffar, of course, is a legislative attorney. She really knows the ins and outs of what these things are going to mean for us. And we also have Congresswoman Marie Newman joining us with her take on it. So while we are waiting for our Person of the Week, Marie, good morning. Can we get your take on what is happening with this big, beautiful bill that just passed?
Oh, my gosh. Well, good morning to everyone. I'm so glad to I'm going to flip phones. Hold on one second, guys.
Okay.
There's better. I was getting an echo.
Okay. Are you good now?
I'm still getting an echo, but not sure why.
Okay. Well, we can't hear the echo on the air, so let's continue.
Then I'll just suffer alone.
Okay.
So this big bill. Good Lord, how devastating for folks that rely on Medicaid, that go to rural hospitals. For all of their health care. It is like nothing else. It is the most immoral bill, quantitatively as well as subjectively, that we've all had in our adult lifetime. So for me, that's many decades. So I after I got over the trauma of that blow, that it will, just here in Illinois, we will likely lose 9 hospitals. We will likely lose over 90 long-term health care facilities just in Illinois. Folks, right around 500,000 folks that currently are covered by Medicaid will lose that coverage. In this nation, our policies are going to go up they usually go up between 10 and 20% per year, our healthcare policies. But if you are affected by the ACA, your healthcare policies will likely go up 30 to 40%. This is nothing that anybody can afford to have right now, and we're at an all-time high because of post-COVID and other health issues. So we're in a trauma-based situation right now. And what does all of that mean? All of that health care being taken away? That also means our mental health care is going to be in quite a precarious situation too. So for all those reasons, my heart is completely broken. And don't get me started on starving kids in school by taking away SNAP. So
thank you.
Those are the things.
Thank you so much. And folks, here's the thing. Murray, how do we fight back against this? I mean, this it has already happened. Okay, we've been trying to hold our elected representatives accountable for this travesty of a bill. But now that it is passed, how do we counter this? How do we get out of this mess?
We counter it by, as rank and file citizens of the U.S. is talking about it and making the Republicans own this. My mom lost her long-term care coverage because Medicaid was taken away. My sister, who was in a cancer trial, was her ability to live longer was taken away because of this cancer trial was taken away. My child or my nephew who relied on SNAP. So talk about how this directly affects your family and your loved ones every day to anybody that will listen. I've said this for 6 months, is the reason MAGA won is that they complained about higher prices and COVID for 9 years on rinse, wash, repeat several times a day. And that is our job that costs nothing, that we all can do, and will also be cathartic. Now, also, what we need to do is join our activist groups, whether it is Project 5051 or Indivisible or Move On or whoever you're going to join, and get out there and do the protest. There very likely will be a major action. We've had 2 big ones. The first one was $5 million on April 5th. The second one on June 14th was well over $6 million. We are preparing for what is known as a general strike, where we all sit down and let the government know we are not going to put up with this garbage. So prepare for that. Join an activism group.
Real quick. How does, say, everybody wakes up tomorrow and understands what just happened, like an atomic bomb going off in their backyard here? How would the procedural process work to eventually reverse this? Do we have to wait till 2026 on the midterms and then do something that way, or is there a circuit breaker somehow that things can be better sooner than later?
Okay. What I'd like to request, Murray, if you can just stay on the line, we'll take a quick ad break and we'll come back with your answer to this.
Sure.
Have no fear with regard to renewable energy. If you own property, either residential or commercial, in Northern Illinois, you most likely qualify for massive federal, state, and utility incentives. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down this number, 630-785-0031. You can have a no-cost, no-obligation conversation with a ComEd green light expert that can help you figure out which incentives you qualify for. Again, call 630-785-0031 for a free, no-cost, no-obligation assessment. 630-785-0031.
Injured in an accident? Ticketed for DUI or traffic violations? You need Riz Injury Law on your side. Attorney Riz Ali fights for you, specializing in auto accidents, medical malpractice, slip and falls, traffic tickets, DUI and DWI. Call 312-546-5109 now. That's 312-546-5109. One more time, 312-546-5109. Your story matters, and Riz Injury Law will fight to make sure you get justice. Visit RizInjuryLaw.com or stop by 35 East Wacker Drive, Suite 650 in Chicago, Illinois, 60601. That's Riz Injury Law. Justice, compensation, results. Call 312-546-5109.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammed Fahim.
Good morning, folks. Welcome back. We have a full slate today, so we'll be running a little bit behind on some of the stuff that we wanted to talk about. So, Murray, your quick question, your quick answer to Ken's question, and then we have our person of the week joining us. We also have Patty Drugan and Sultan Abubakar joining us shortly to talk about what the heck is happening in Gaza and what we are doing over here for that. Murray, your answer to Ken's question.
Sure. I'd like to say that, first of all, the question was, can we reverse this and how quickly, all of this trauma? The answer is, if we were to do it legislatively inside of the time before we have between the 26 elections, it would take reversing several Republicans to appeal it. So there is, we could obviously appeal parts of the law, amend it, but that's very unlikely. We likely are going to have to wait till 2026 which I'm now confident we will take over the legislature again. We will take over the House and likely the Senate. So I think
hope so.
If I can reiterate to everybody, talk about this to your independent friends and your MAGA light friends every day, how horrifying the prices in the world are right now and how horrifying it is that your mom, dad, daughter, whoever has been negatively affected by the Medicaid cuts.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's Congresswoman Murray Newman who joined us for this to talk about this travesty of a bill, folks, and we'll continue to talk about it. Sheila, good morning. Thank you for holding on.
Good morning. We are waiting for our...
Okay, that's fine. So we're still waiting for our person of the week to call in, and Dr. Sheila White some great guests for us.
Okay.
But we do have...
Okay, while we're waiting for them, Carl...
hang on, Ken. Ken, hang on.
Yeah.
One sec. I got two guests that I had invited, Patty Drugan and Sultan Abubakar, to talk about something very important that's happening in Bloomingdale. Let's get them on. Good morning, Patty.
Hi, Mohammed. Hi, Ken. I am so glad that you guys have allowed us to come on. How are you guys?
We're doing good, and we are running a little bit tight on time today because so much is happening. So,
I got you.
And we cannot continue. We cannot ignore what is happening in Gaza also, Patty, and thank you so much for your activism on this one. So this Wednesday, what is happening?
So I am with a group called Advocates for Justice, and my sister Sultan Abubakar is on the phone with me. We are going to be having, we have done a series of 3 documentaries. This is going to be our second documentary. We see what's going on out here in Illinois and across America, and our thought process is we need to start meeting people at the table and educating folks on what's going on, and we're doing it through our documentary series. This Wednesday, it is going to be the encampments, talking about what's going on with our college students.
Okay.
And it's going to be starting at 5. The doors are going to open at 5:45. And this is going to be done at the Levy Center at 251 Canterbury Lane in Bolingbrook, Illinois. And we will be serving dinner, and there will be daycare there as well. And then, Sultan, if you would like to add some words.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having us. Good morning. As you said, we cannot forget what's happening in Gaza. It's been 2 years now that we've been live streaming and watching a genocide take place that our tax dollars are paying for. And we do these documentaries and educational events so we can bring awareness to what is going on and what we're funding as Americans, so we can stand up to our representatives and say that we do not agree with where our tax dollars are going. And now with this new big, beautiful bill that just got passed, things for Americans are going to get worse. Financially, people are losing Medicaid. They're going to be struggling with their Social Security.
We have been discussing that all morning today, Susan.
Yes.
So thank you. And Patty, thank you so much for your activism. Let's continue talking about it. Let's continue educating our friends and our family and our neighbors. And change will come. We don't need to lose heart. Change will come. That's what we are all about.
Of course,
right?
Of course.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you both for joining in. And is there any information that people want to find out? Is there anything online that we can find out on this?
We have on Instagram, there's an Advocates for Justice page that has the flyers for the events that are coming up. We use different documentaries, and we do also an event called Meet Your Allies, because I think as society in general in the United States, we need to unite and get to know each other and connect, because I think there's a divide in our society that's allowing all this to happen.
There sure is.
Yeah.
Okay, and thank you both for calling in, guys. Let's take a quick break and come back on the other side of the break with more programming. There's so much happening, and time is just flying by for us today. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back on the other side.
Residential or commercial in Northern Illinois, you most likely qualify for massive federal, state, and utility incentives. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down this number, 630-785-0031.
I can hear it playing.
No cost, no obligation conversation.
Yeah, if she doesn't call in, we just go without her.
Greenlight expert that can help you figure out which incentives you qualify for. Again, call 630-785-0031. or a free, no-cost, no-obligation assessment. 630-785-0031.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammed Fahim.
Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the Lightning Strike. And we've got Paul Moose and Ken DeLuke joining us also. Guys, thank you so much for holding on. Reed, thank you so much for holding on. It's a crazy morning today. So what you got on your mind, Ken?
Technical difficulties going on. It's kind of crazy. I'm not sure why, but anyhow, Carl, major things have happened in your neck of the woods for science, energy, technology. Can you kind of give a overall view on how this new bill is going to impact both residents and commercial people who want to move to a clean energy environment? Are you there, Carl?
Well, I can't hear Carl, Ken, so he may have dropped off. Okay.
No, guys, I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys?
We can hear you now.
I can hear you now.
Ahead,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the big thing is the federal incentive, the ITC, the investment tax credit, which is going to eventually go away. That's a huge thing for developers as well as residential and commercial people that are looking to go green, right? Especially with solar. I mean, that is a huge incentive that is eventually going to be gone, and it's going to prohibit a lot of people from installing solar, not only on their homes, but also on their buildings. And there's a big rush right now. I had dinner last night with some developers, and they're rushing to find land because they know that the sun is setting And if they don't get their projects going in the next 6 months, they're not ever going to get going because that federal tax credit is going away, which is going to have a major impact on investors because, currently you can get up to 60% of the cost of the installation as a federal tax credit, dollar for dollar federal tax credit, and that is eventually going to go away. So it's going to have a major impact, not only that, but also in the industry, there's a lot of sales people out there and people that are installers that are also going to be affected by this because as fewer projects get funded, obviously those people are going to be affected. So it's going to have a major shakeup, definitely in the solar industry for sure.
Well, Carl, this is something that we have discussed in the past also, that our president is least concerned about the environment and the effects on the environment of the fossil fuels that we are burning. Because he comes in and says, drill, baby, drill. He does not give a hoot about us or the upcoming generations. And that's something that is sad, but that is something that we bought into. And especially my friends who are on the right side of the aisle, guys, come on, wake up. It is your family, your friends, your generations that are going to be impacted by all of this stuff that is happening in Washington. The sun is shining, okay? And all these fossil fuels, initially they got their energy from the sunshine. I can hear a lot of static in the background today. I don't know what's happening, Dylan, but I do hear a lot of static on my end over here.
Hey, Carl,
Okay.
quick question. Now, let me ask Carl a question on this. Now, it's January 1st that theoretically all this stuff goes into play. If somebody wants to, we're at the fence, and they were thinking about it, and somebody wants to move forward, what is the timeline that they have to do something in order to take advantage, whether it be a corporation, a business, a residence? What do they need to do right now, and how important is it that they pull that trigger?
Okay. Hey, Carl, I think your phone is giving us a lot of static today. So just make sure that I can hear a lot of static and it's coming from your phone. Let's have a quick answer, and then we have got Read Bible and Maria Muzaffar. We are running very late on our discussions today.
Yeah, so Ken, real quickly, as long as somebody gets a project going before the end of the year, they're in a safe harbor. After the first of the year, the incentives start to go away. So if anybody's thinking about doing a project for their home or for their business, as long as they get it going in the next couple of months, they should be okay.
Thank you, Carl. And
great, thank you.
Let's welcome Read Bible back into the conversation. Read, good morning, and thank you so much for holding on.
Good morning, Mohammed. Good morning, Ken and Carl, everybody, our listeners.
Yeah, it's been going crazy today, and our person of the week actually could not call in because all our lines were blocked up today. Dr. White, are you still on? Okay, I'm trying to see if Dr. White is still on or she dropped off. Okay.
Okay.
Well, and has our person of the week called in now?
I'm not sure. We're holding.
Okay, that's fine. So let's continue to hold for our person of the week. Reed, let's get back to you. Thank you so much for holding on today. What have you got on your mind with this big, beautiful bull?
Well, Mohammed, there's so many aspects of this recently passed budgetary reconciliation bill. Fortunately, Carl talked about some. I had a question for Congressman Newman, which time isn't permitting. But with all that's going on, I just can't help but remember the quote purportedly said by the late Justice Louis Brandeis that we may have a democracy or we may have a great concentration of wealth in the hands of few, but we cannot have both. Now, Louis Brandeis was supported to have said that, and I think it so succinctly talks about this bill and what's going to happen. And with all the other things that we could talk about, there's just one point I'd like to get across in my little segment, and that's about Social Security. The President Trump claimed that he would not have any taxation of Social Security benefits. Social Security benefits began getting taxed in 1983 under the Reagan administration, and the purpose for that was to keep supposedly the Social Security Trust Fund solvent. But Trump came along and he promised to seniors across the nation that he was going to eliminate income taxes on Social Security benefits totally. And I guess even the Social Security Administration in the last 24 hours or so set out a false notification that this was going to be the case, that Social Security benefits will no longer be taxed. Well, that is just a total falsehood. They are going to be taxed just like they have been since 1983. The only temporary change that there's going to be is for seniors who are 65 years of age and older, that I guess from 2025 to 2028, they can take a $4,000 deduction from their Social Security benefits and then calculate what the taxable portion of their Social Security benefits are going to be from that. I know this is a little technical.
I think, Reed, it is $6,000 to their standard deduction.
Okay, thank you.
Not $4,000. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that correction. Yeah. And that's just temporary, folks, seniors out there, because I just wonder how many seniors voted for Trump because they thought that if I vote for him, my Social Security benefits will no longer get taxed, and then I'll have this nice windfall. Well, that windfall ain't coming, folks, because the $6,000 deduction probably translates into maybe a few extra $100 every year. And for people in low income, yes, that makes a big difference. Marginal utility of $600 a year extra for somebody who makes less than $30,000 a year is a lot. But for people who are making $100,000, it ain't that much. And yet this is a huge transfer of wealth from the middle class, the working class, up to the wealthy, just so they can save themselves hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes that they really fairly should be paying. So that's the point I just wanted to get across to clean up that confusion about Social Security benefits. They are still taxable, folks. They're not going to be tax-free.
Well, thank you so much, Reed, for bringing it up. And I think Maria is going to be really diving into it and in her segment today. Here's the thing, folks. This bill is projected to add about almost $2 trillion to the deficit over the next decade. Okay. Our fiscal sustainability long-term is definitely going to be impacted. And the benefits now are skewed towards the higher earners. And on that note, let's bring in Maria Muzaffar. Maria, good morning. Thank you so much for calling in, and thank you so much for holding on.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I wasn't able to listen to Congresswoman Newman's talk on the beautiful bill that's turning pretty ugly. So for your listeners, I might be repeating some things, but I want to be very clear that we need to know some numbers to be able to understand the entirety of the bill, and I want to break it down simply. So I think maybe most of your listeners know that this bill, the big, beautiful bill, extends the 2017 tax cuts. It's going to cost about $3.7 trillion for our nation. And it's also going to save us money, though, and that's $1.3 trillion. And how that saves us money is something I will speak about as well. The bigger issue here is where the money goes and where the money is exempted from. So healthcare, food programs, Medicaid, that's where all the money is going to be saving. So I want us to translate what that means. When we save money by cutting programs, we allow individuals to get sicker and not eat. So we basically identify that individuals are taking up space. But if we don't provide for them, we'll save money. Okay, so let's understand it in those terms. When we talk about how this bill is actually going to help and what brackets it will help in. So for individuals that have about a salary of about a household $20,000 or less, you're not going to be making money. If you're going to have student loans, that's going to add on to your overall cost. $20K to $58K, you will not be saving money. But if you have $58K to $105K bracket, you will save a little bit of money. $4.8 million the top 1%, if that's your salary, you're probably going to be saving around $301,000 and up dollars. So Reed is correct. It actually makes a lot of advantages for individuals that make a lot of money, but hurts a lot of people that don't have much money. But then there's a few gifts in there, right? Yeah.
Let's also not forget that everything is going up. Nothing is getting cheaper. So the little money that we will probably end up saying, inflation is going to eat away at it like crazy, right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So
let me add in with these tariffs. That is basically the Trump federal sales tax. So the inflation is not just going to go up, it's going to go up by even more if these tariffs go in place, because most of the goods that we bring into the country are also going to be affected. And what's even more important than what you just said, Maria, when you talked about the health care, if there are certain hospitals that are on the borderline, if they go out of existence, well, yeah, maybe somebody figures, I got enough money, I can pay for whatever, I got great insurance. But guess what? If the hospital that's within 10 miles from you, all of a sudden, now you have to go to the hospital within 50 miles of you because that hospital closed down, it's going to be a burden on everybody, not just the poor. Okay? It's really important to put this in a bigger perspective. But go ahead.
Absolutely. And it is a domino effect, right, when you cut programs. So, and then what I was going to say is that there are gifts in this bill that they consider gifts, but it's tied to inflation. So seniors can actually have an increase in tax deduction. There's a child tax deduction increase. You can get a deduction for your cars as long as it's manufactured in the U.S. These are all little gifts that the legislation tries to share. However, inflation is going to impact everything. So honestly, it's not going to be a huge benefit. So now that we've broken down where we're taking money from, let's talk about where the money is going. $153 billion onto defense, including $25 billion for the Golden Dome, $50 billion, $45 billion, $80 billion, $27 billion. These are all broken down in categories for ICE deportation detention centers, right? So what we are basically saying is that we're putting a lot of money in to deport people, to detain them, and we're making sure that that money comes out by saving money from people that are sick and need food. So let's understand those two buckets of how this legislation encourages this. And I do want to say that at the end of the day, the way that every person should look at this legislation is not just on numbers, but follow the money of what it actually wants to create and do. And what it really wants to do is widen this gap. The people that are poor, that are struggling, are taking up space, according to this bill. Second, we need to make sure that we control the demographic change. So let's put on money into deportation and detention centers, because we want to make sure that individuals that are coming outside of the U.S. cannot shift what the country looks like. And so when we say follow the money with this bill, it means follow the money of what the country is going to look like after this goes into effect, and using tax credits and cutting up programs to be able to do that. And I also want to add, I had a chance about a week and a half ago to be in New York City with Mamdani's team the last few days of the election. And I will say this, and I want us to think about this as we look at this bill. When people talk about the victory of Mamdani, they talk about policy, but they also miss the opportunity to recognize that he actually honored the voters of different groups and different socioeconomic backgrounds, different ethnicities and races. And that was actually the powerful learning lesson from his campaign. And I would say take the same approach on this legislation, right? Where is the victory in this legislation? It dishonors the poor. It dishonors diversity. It creates more detention centers and deportation programs to kick people out that look different. And that's very, very critical. So honoring people is going to give you victory. Dishonoring them in this way is going to have massive, massive damage in this nation. Why? For years to come.
Well, I hope the upcoming elections are going to be really a learning lesson for especially both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Maria, Mamdani's victory is definitely a lesson to be learned for the establishment Democratic Party. I mean, the ideological divide that Mamdani has identified now is just so amazing, and the party establishment is in a big panic now. You know, his unexpected victory has really caused absolute panic among the Democratic leaders, including Governor Kathy Hochul, who have struggled to endorse him publicly, and there's still many of the party leaders have not endorsed him publicly, and there is concern that Mamdani's supporters may target incumbent Democrats in future democracies. And by the way, what do you think about our friend Elon Musk announcing a new party, the America Party?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what we're seeing, right? The America Party comes out as another way to appeal to the masses that feel lost between the two parties. But I would go back to the establishment of the Democratic Party, which we always do during this echo chamber, right? We figure out what did Mamdani identify. He identified that the Democratic Party was not being authentic to its truth and taking care of the individuals that needed their costs addressed. And there was a vacuum there. And the vacuum was taken up by the Republicans because New York City went to Trump. So all of a sudden, he came back and he spoke that language which the Democrats were not speaking. And he was speaking, obviously, on a lot of other issues as well, including his position on Modi and his position on Israel and Palestine. So when that was not touched by the Democrats publicly and boldly in a nuanced way, Mamdani did, and people responded to it, of all demographics, and highly educated demographics, I want to remind people. So individuals that read and learn about the policy and follow the money and care about foreign domestic policy will make an impact in races and will make their decisions known. We just have to become those people, individual by individual, all in rural areas and urban areas. We all have to know and do our homework and know the facts, and that's when we'll be able to make educated decisions and call on Democrats and Republicans together on their failings.
Well, and that's so important. Carl, one of the things that I was noticing that Mamdani was talking about, I'm pretty sure you're following Mamdani's, progress in New York. Many of the voters that voted for him in the primary were first-time voters, and a lot of them were young people who have never voted before. The average earning income of those people was, it seems like $65,000. Those are the numbers that I am looking at. Carl, how do we duplicate something like that in our local elections over here in Illinois? Okay, I don't hear Carl talking back to me on this one. Yep. So here's the thing, folks. We have got to keep on fighting. Okay? You've got to keep on fighting, and if we don't fight, it's going to come and bite us in a big way. It has already started to bite us now. And Maria, thank you so much for breaking the echo chamber on this thing. And as we continue this conversation, folks, I want to bring out something also that I had pointed out last week. There was one congressman who had submitted a bill to impeach Donald Trump. And that bill failed, and every Democratic congressperson from Illinois voted against that bill. So when Elon Musk comes out and says that this is not a two-party system anymore, it's a uni-party system in the country, I think there is some truth to it. What do you say, Maria?
Well, it's yet to be seen, but I think it's always the more choices we have, the better. I think any movement that forces establishment political parties to look at their platform and then look at the people that they're representing and self-check themselves is a good idea.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much. And on that note, let's go to Dr. Sheila White. Dr. White, good morning. We had to really push our Person of the Week segment almost to the end of the show today.
Yes, good morning. Our Person of the Week, we have just a little bit of time, I understand, is Airtight, which is a digital legacy protection platform, and it provides bank-grade security for families to store and share important documents and to designated heirs. And whether it's a will, a trust, insurance policies, birth certificates, or personal family memories, the HEIR, Hair Tight, is a platform to help individuals. And so I would like to welcome Natalie Michon, who is the president and CEO of that organization. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. Natalie, I'd like to ask you, how can you access the documents anywhere from around the world with Airtight?
So that's the great thing about our platform. Our platform is built with your primary user as well as a sub-user. So in the event that you need to access, well, first, when you establish your account, we kind of onboard you. We walk you through certain steps and kind of guide you through documents that we can help you scan, upload, or if you have them on your platform already, on your device already, just upload them from your device. And when you're anywhere from your mobile device or anywhere around the world, you can access the documents that you've saved in your Airtight account. So it's simply, if you're on a cruise and you lose your documents, you can simply just log into your Airtight account and grab any document that you need to put your hands on. That's in a secured, like you said, bank-grade environment.
Now, how secure is Airtight for important documents?
So it's HIPAA compliant. It's bank-grade security. So everything that you need to store is already in an environment where it's encrypted. So it's not a regular cloud storage. It's actually in a secured cloud storage. So the average person probably saves stuff on a Google Drive or things like that. That's regular, typical cloud storage. At Airtight, we use bank-graded, so it's secured.
So let me ask you Sorry, Sheila, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to know what type of unique features does it offer? That's the one question.
So one of my favorite features is, for example, like I said, we have your main user and your sub-user. And when we mean sub-user, for example, let me use my children. When I upload my will or my life insurance policy and I want to share them with my children really don't have access to my direct Airtight account. I assign different documents to my sub-users, which is my children. And they will get a notification from Airtight that I have sent them a document for them to accept it or reject it. So that's one feature, that when you send a document, the document can be accepted by your sub-user. Now, for my life insurance policy, I don't really want my children to see the life insurance policy or the will at this time. So when I pass away, that's when those documents will be unlocked. So we have what's called a hidden file feature. But I still want to make sure if anything should happen to me at any time, right, God forbid, that they can always put their hands on it. But I only want them to see the documents when the time is appropriate. So that's one of our most popular features.
Awesome.
Go ahead,
how do people get in touch with you?
They can simply go to getairtight.com, GETHEIRTIGHT.com, or if you want to send us an email, just support@getairtight.com.
Well, thank you so much. I like the play of words on the Airtight thing over here. Okay.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that all your servers are stateside, right?
Yes, we use AWS, and it's S3, and we have SOC protocols. So we made sure that, as we're helping families secure their legacy and their documents, we want to make sure that everything is secured.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have been waiting for you for a long time today. So we had to get you in.
I certainly apologize. I had a time zone difference. Please forgive me.
Okay. Well, Sheila, thank you again for bringing that's a great thing that I haven't heard of this thing before. Carl, you got any comments on what you heard just now?
No, I think it's great. I mean, we just went through this with my mom and my dad, and my brother had some documents, and my sister had some documents, so it sounds like a phenomenal service, and especially, with everything that's going on with, cybersecurity and people being concerned about 5G and everything else. I think it's a great service.
Wonderful. So, folks, we got 10 minutes now, and we got some open lines that we'll be opening up. If you want to join the conversation, The number to call in is 773-763-9278. We've been discussing this travesty of legislation that passed recently, and I don't know still. I'm not able to get my arms around this thing as to why the heck are people so afraid of the big bad wolf up in Washington now that they are just flopping back and saying yes to anything and everything that he's proposing. And let's not forget, folks, that everything that is being proposed and voted on is not new. The Heritage Foundation has been working on this for years now, and this is part of the Project 2025 that is being implemented. And Ken, we have been talking about Project 2025 for a long time now. And Reed, you also are aware that this Project 2025 is something that was designed to make this thing happen. I don't think our president has got any clue as to what he signs or what he talks about.
Yeah, that's the scary part. I mean, that is definitely the scary part of this whole deal is that, he's just going along and, like, as it's been said, he'll talk to 10 people, and then whoever the last person was that he was on the phone with talking to, that's his position without actually even knowing what that position is. So, I mean, we're not dealing with a rocket scientist in the presidential office right now. We're dealing with someone who just plays the social game, the media game, and it's scary as hell. And what's even more scary is if something happens to him and we got J.D. Vance in the backup seat, now there's a guy who went to Harvard, okay? There's a guy that could probably blow everything up if he's got the same mindset that we're in right now. So I don't know what's going on, but, it's important to think about.
Well, Ken, here's the thing, though. All of these hangers on J.D. Vance and Rubio and all of the others surrounding Trump, at one point, they were his biggest critics. They've called him all sorts of names. And when it came time to hang on to him, they're praising him to high heaven, okay? I don't think that these guys have got the moral clarity or the moral backbone to really be doing something different from what they have. They're just bought into the devil's thing over here.
Yeah. I mean, that's a perfect statement you just made, because they don't really care about their constituents and what's good or bad for their constituents. And in many of these red states, some of these policies that are going through with this big, beautiful bill are going to destroy farms. They're going to destroy families. They're going to destroy businesses because of the implementation of these rules that are putting in place. They don't care. All they care about is getting reelected. Well, guys, that's not your job to get reelected. Your job is to represent the people in your district. And I don't understand why they can't understand that.
Well, and I do agree with Elon Musk, surprisingly, that you have to primary every one of these people who have been supporting these policies this time, okay? I know it's going to be a challenge. The establishment does not want us to primary a sitting congressman or a sitting senator. And but if we don't, these things are not going to correct by themselves. There is no self-correction mechanism, guys. We have got to step up. One of the biggest things that I have seen is Zohran Mamdani's challenging the status quo in New York. When you have somebody like the Cuomo family, and this guy comes out of nowhere with a 1% name recognition at the beginning of the primaries to where he got 56% of the vote, obviously the people out there are ready for a change. But if we don't...
Thank you,
Go ahead, please, Reed.
I'm sorry, Mohammed, but this is why we got people, Democrats, criticizing, denouncing him, Clyburn and Clinton and Gillibrand, and it's just outrageous. He has as much to defend himself against Democrats as he does against Republicans, and I guess I'm full of quotes today. And here's one that I think is very applicable to Mohammed Mamdani. This quote is, "A debt of service is due from every man to his country, proportional to the bounties which nature and fortune have measured to him." That is a quote from Thomas Jefferson, and I think it presages Mamdani. He's saying the same thing, only he's using the words affordability for all by taxing the rich.
Well, and they don't want that to happen because, let's face it, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, these guys are not poor people, okay? They are part of the elite rich, and they are feeling very threatened by Mamdani's rise now. And this has really sparked debates now, folks, within national democratic circles about the party's identity and future direction, with some people now viewing that as a Tea Party movement for Democrats, a grassroots insurgency against the establishment that could reshape the party's platform and electoral tactics. And I hope it happens all over the country, not just in New York. And this is something
Mohammed?
Yes, Reed, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you know what? I think that a country that can tolerate a governor who eats pudding with 3 fingers can tolerate a mayor in New York who eats rice with his fingers.
Well, and they could not find anything, so they latched on to that. And my answer has always been this, Reed. In the Asian subcontinent and most of the Middle Eastern cultures, we eat with our fingers, okay? And a lot of people here eat with their fingers also. You can't eat finger foods with a fork, okay? And no matter...
French fries and tacos. French fries and tacos.
I had a hot dog once.
And interestingly enough, gentlemen, all those foods I just mentioned have derivations from other countries. Tacos, pizza, and we eat them with our hands.
And here's the thing, guys. Okay, with all due respect, no matter how much that restaurant fork is washed, how many times, you have no idea how many mouths it has been in before it goes in your mouth. Okay, so I would rather eat with my fingers because I know that my fingers are the only ones that have been in my mouth. Okay,
Mohammed, you don't know what those fingers have been.
Hey, as long as they're my fingers, I know where they have been, my friend. Okay, maybe one finger. Sometimes I stick up my middle finger once in a while, but okay, but it doesn't go anywhere. I just throw it out my car window, I guess, at some people. But honestly, folks, if you want to really challenge somebody, challenge them on their policies. Challenge them on what they want to bring to the table, not what they have on the table with their fingers. And that is crazy.
And most importantly, challenge them on what is in your most best interest, you and your family. What is in your most best interest? That's the most important thing.
Well, here's the thing, some party insiders worry that Mamdani's success could spark a broader left-wing movement within the party. This is to further deepen the ideological rifts and undermine the party unity. What are we looking at, Size? There's no party unity anymore. We have a uni-party. There is no 2 parties in the country. If majority of the Illinois Congress people vote against a bill to impeach President Trump, that is really telling me something. And now we have got our governor has, by the way, our governor has announced that he's going to be seeking re-election, folks. We got a couple of minutes to talk on that. And any comments, any thoughts on that? Okay, I guess we're running out of time. I can hear our outro music coming in, Reed. So I think we'll discuss that next week. And thank you again, Reed Bible, Maria Mozaffar, Ken DeLuke, Carl Moose, Dr. Sheila White, Congresswoman Marie Newman, And we had also two guests, Patty Dugan and Sozan Abu Bakr joining us today. Folks, this is the Lightning Strike Talk Radio. You can listen to us every Sunday morning from 9 to 10 on WCPT 820 AM, Chicago's progressive talk radio station. We'll be coming back to you next week. Thank you so much for listening.